Dari, hello from the study. It's the beginning of July 2020, and on the screen you see the problem, which is that I'm trying to move information or data from my local system to the remote GitHub repository, and it fails. It fails absolutely all the time, reliably. I spent hours last night pushing this archive up to the GitHub cloud. Must have tried about 50 times. Anyway, there's plenty of time to talk about the failure, so let's just repeat the failure again online. As you can see, I've set up a push. The push does a compressing objects first, and then sooner or later it fails with RPC failed curl 55, the requested URL error :401. It does this consistently, and we're going to see why, and there may be a recovery plan. Okay. And before people get all smart on me, I'm going to say that I have tried changing this parameter. So we're going to put this parameter in again, just so everyone can see it. It is that parameter, and that sets it to 200 megabytes. I've gone as far as 8 gigabytes, and in the gigabyte range you get all sorts of weirdo errors. Clearly the system just can't cope with a multi-gigabyte value of buffer. Right, so let's push to the git push command. I'm fairly new to this, so excuse me if I make any blundering errors. So we're pushing, we're going. So now we've got time to talk, because this is going to take a while. I've got a set of data. It's previously been hosted on web servers, and I've made a change to put it onto GitHub. Putting it onto GitHub is a more controlled way of regulating the data, which is old vintage computing stuff. In that, the GitHub repository is going to be made private. In order to look at the data, you'll need to look at the data en masse, I should say. You'll need to send me your IP address and, agree to use the data in a certain, friendly way. So that's the basic outline. There's many gigabytes of data, let's call it at least 50,000 files, and many gigabytes of data, of which there are about 50,000 or more files sitting on my local master workstation. The local master workstation has a lot of resources. It's got over 70 CPUs, of which I'm using 36 here. It's got all NVMe disk from which I'm working. It's got 10 gigabit networking, although not up to the cloud, obviously. Anyway, so the bottlenecks don't appear to be at my end. I've tried replicating this on native Linux platforms, Windows platform, and nothing works. So what you can see here is we're writing objects quite finely. We've got up to 1.08 gigabytes, 1.10 gigabytes. We're running at 10 megabytes per second, if you like. So let's say call it 100 megabits per second upload. So the torture will not be too much longer. What else have I got to say? Not very much, really. I mean, there is a workaround, which I seem to have forgotten, because I previously had this repository uploaded, and now, looking back through my notes, I can't imagine how I got it to work. It seems, to cut to the chase, that at exactly 2 gigabytes, the system breaks down. So it appears to me that the GitHub repository system has a problem when a single upload goes past 2.00 gigabytes. And don't forget, this buffer is set to 200 megabytes. I've tried making the buffer over 2 gigabytes, and that doesn't work either. Okay, so we're approaching the fault line, 1.84. Not too much longer to wait now. And since Git is atomic, nothing happens or everything happens. So it's not like it's pushing 558 objects and I'll do the rest later. It's just gonna, oh, there we go. So curl 55 requested URL returned error 401. It then trundles on to 94%. It gets the rest of the percentages very quickly. If I can bother to leave it. Anyway, nothing's going to happen at this point. When this completes, it says when it says the remote end hung up unexpectedly, it could as well quit there. Okay, everything up to date. However, nothing's actually been done. Okay, back to the drawing board. I think the fix is going to be to upload in 2 GB or less parcels.